Before I begin my homily this morning, I just want to thank all of you from the bottom of my heart for this gift of sabbatical, which begins this week. I'm so grateful to all of you for allowing me the opportunity to rest and to reflect, to recharge and to renew. And I'm so very excited to see what the Spirit has in store, not just for me, but for all of you, the amazing congregation of Douglas UCC. I'm so excited to see what will unfold in the next 12 weeks. And fittingly enough, the sabbatical begins tomorrow. And tomorrow, January 6th, is the Epiphany. Now, the word Epiphany comes from a Greek word which means to reveal. We experience epiphanies when the divine reveals itself to us in new and unexpected and wonder-filled ways. And so I'm so very excited to see how the divine will be made manifest in us and through us, not only in the next 12 weeks, but in the coming year, in the year of 2020. Now, as we heard in our words of integration and guidance this morning from our friend, Reverend Kay Glennon, the Epiphany story is a highly symbolic one, meaning it's not really about the Magi and it's not really about the baby Jesus. The Epiphany story is really our story. It's about us. It's about us refusing to follow the unjust commands of a tyrant, power-hungry, fearful king, and instead to put our focus on the light, on that perfect light, and allowing ourselves to be guided by it. Now, this story of the Epiphany is only told to us in Matthew's Gospel. That's it. So we don't really know a lot about who these Magi were. Now, we hear in Matthew's Gospel that the Magi were wise men from the East. Notice the writer of Matthew's Gospel doesn't say there were three of them and doesn't say that they were kings. I think it's that Christmas carol that we all love, We Three Kings. That kind of popularized that idea, but it's nowhere to be found in the Scripture. We know that they were wise men, meaning they were men who possessed wisdom. And I told you before, wisdom is very different from knowledge. There are a lot of people who possess knowledge, means they know a lot of stuff. They know a lot of facts. But people who possess wisdom, they have a deeper spiritual knowing. And these wise men were known as Magi. It comes from the same root word as the word magic. But these Magi weren't magicians as we understand the word today. You see, magicians today are people who are trying to fool us. They're trying to fool us with illusion, trick us with sleight of hand. But the word magical, really the source of that word, is more in line with the word mystical. The Magi were mystics. Mystics are people who aren't trying to fool us with illusion. They're trying to reveal the truth to us. The Magi were truth tellers. They were more than astrologers or shamans or clairvoyants. They were able to read the stars and to see into the spiritual realm. And my favorite thing about this story is it says that they were from the East, which means they were foreigners. They came from a foreign land, a different culture. They spoke a different language, and they practiced a different religion. They were from the Eastern spiritual traditions. And yet they're the very first people to recognize the Christ light. And what that means for me is that the Christ light has come for all people, not just Christians. The light has come for people of every culture, every tradition. So what the Feast of the Epiphany is all about it's a time for us to recognize that the light of the world wasn't just born in a baby more than 2,000 years ago, but that it is alive in us, in all of us. And I told you last year, the greatest epiphany that you can ever experience is recognizing that light that is within you. When you recognize that light and you allow yourself to be guided by it, you become a wise man or woman. Now, the Magi did just that. They were focused on the light. They had a vision, and they allowed themselves to be guided by that vision. Now, true visionaries, think of people like inventors and scientists and artists. They're able to see things differently than most people. They are able to break free from very limited and established ways of thinking. They're able to kind of see things with new eyes, see unlimited possibilities. They're able to see new ideas, to dream big. Where most people see the impossible in a situation, true visionaries see the possible. And that's who the Magi were. They were visionaries. Now, believe it or not, right here in this church this morning, we are among a group of great visionaries. I don't know if you knew that. Back in 2013, on the very first Sunday of 2013, the attendance in this church was 21 people. Those 21 people were a small group, but they were people of great vision. And that year, they got together with the guidance of Spirit to envision anew. They visioned what they were seeking in a new pastor. They visioned a church that was alive and active, out in the community. Their vision was that they wanted to be a church that was active and leaders in the community when it came to social justice. They said they wanted to be a church that was all about environmental activism. They said that they wanted to be at the forefront of LGBTQ rights and women's rights. That was their vision back in 2013. They met. They wrote it down. They held that vision. They prayed about that vision. And they allowed themselves to be guided by it, to be guided by the Spirit. And what they did was, at a time when the church was struggling to pay its bills, they gave of their time, their talents, and their treasures over to that vision. And guess what happened? Slowly but surely, the church started to grow and grow and grow. And here we are at the beginning of 2020, and their vision has been made manifest. So much so that we've run out of room. Our cup is overflowing. I am so grateful for that vision that has brought us to this time and to this place. And so right now, it is the time for us to vision again, to vision anew. It's a time for us to come together under the guidance of Spirit and to vision new possibilities, even greater things for Douglas UCC. And today at our congregational meeting, we're going to unveil a 2020 vision for Douglas UCC. Like the Magi, God is calling us, the wise men and women of Douglas UCC, to continue to dream and vision. But notice the Magi, they had to undertake a long journey. And they also gave over freely and generously of their treasures and their gifts. So as we continue along our journey, it's going to require us to go the distance. And it's going to require our gifts and our treasures given freely. And most importantly, it's going to require that we trust in the guidance and workings of the Spirit. It's not a spirit of fear. The Spirit is a spirit of wonder. It's a spirit that's unlimited. It's full of possibilities and abundance. We need to put our trust in that Spirit, for as Jesus said, all things are possible if you believe. So may we, like the Magi, believe in the possible. And in this year of 2020, may we look forward with great expectation, not trepidation, for the next great epiphany that God has in store for us at Douglas UCC. Namaste.